Hey, I'm Joel, hope you're doing good. And in this video I'm going to try and give you tips on how to be present. This is the holy grail, really. The present moment is what so many of us try to get to. And when we get knocked out of the present moment, it can be something that's very hard to find our way back into. So these little exercises that I'm going to suggest you try will at least help take away that autopilot and hopefully bring you into the present moment more often than you are able to get into at the moment. But the first one that I'd suggest trying would be for one day at least, just think before you say everything. And this could get you into some awkward situations. This could make conversations a little bit slower. But if you try and get control over your words and what you're saying to people and your control over conversations, it will pull you into the present moment so much, and it will really bring out your self-confidence as well. So, there's so many easy conversations that we have, like, how was your weekend? What are you doing for the weekend? How was your trip in? How are you feeling? And those kind of questions do trigger an automated response. And there's nothing wrong with those questions. Those people might have genuinely thought of those questions and want to know them. So we're not mocking people for asking those questions. But have fun with them. Take your time answering. So if someone has said, how was your weekend? Your automated response might have been, oh, it was great. Yeah, it was really good. How was yours? But instead of that, they ask, how was your weekend? Think about it for a second. My weekend, it was phenomenal. I had such a nice time at home, some well-needed rest. Thank you for asking, it was great. But what I really want to know is, when are we going to go fishing? We give these automated answers because we want to give a quick response, and we don't want to seem rude. And it's quite a boring question. So we give a boring answer because we have things in place. The autopilot has phrases in place that it can pick and choose and give these answers when needs be. But you can play with them. And then if you teach your body that you have the control over everything that you say, that feeling of presence will come flooding through your bones and through your blood and through your words. Now the second one, it's not really an exercise, it's just something to really start thinking about and trying to incorporate into your life. Well, when thinking of life and time, they often get muddled up, but there is no real contest. Time isn't even real. Time is something we've made up. We all know that. The sun rises, the sun sets. Well, doesn't the earth just turns on an axis? But the fact is, time has consumed so many areas of our life that it's become something so solid. It's become something so fact that I think we take life for granted. And time, it is useful. We need it to work and to be up in time and to get to places on time. But often we're using time and trying to speed up time to get to the fun parts of our life. And we blur the bits in between. So the times when we want to speed up time to get to those fun moments, we don't see them as life, we just see them as time. But when you start to realize that time is irrelevant, And the parts of time that we're trying to speed up to get to the fun parts of life, they are the life. And they're just as important as the bits of life that we're trying to get to. And when you can start enjoying those mundane things, even down to the washing up, even down to driving your car, even down to coming home, cooking the dinner, hanging the washing up. If you can start to, not first enjoy these things, but start to want to actively do these things. And when you do them, don't do them just to get through them as quick as possible, but try and do them to do them. And it will enhance your feeling of presence. It really will. Because then, instead of letting the autopilot take over so many areas of your life to speed through and get to these fun moments, these holidays, these birthdays, these nights out, you will slow your time down. Not your time down. Slow your life down. And these other moments will become even more enjoyable. I'm not trying to say that they're not the great parts of the life. But don't speed it up. Never speed it up. If you can enjoy all moments, all things, and when you do that, that is when the present moment will come into fruition. So the important things are right in front of you. They're the now. They're this moment. They're the person that's next to you. And say you're on your deathbed and someone gave you the opportunity to wash up with your most favourite person in the world one more time. Would you take it? Of course you'd take it. And you might be able to do that every night at the moment. But you don't want to do it because of the time it's going to take. And you want to cruise through that as quick as possible. Enjoy it. Enjoy it all. And next, I'd suggest to try and embrace the uneasy. I mean, there's been lots of studies lately with children about whether nurture or nature are the most important ways of parenting. And they've had quite a breakthrough to find out that nature is vastly beneficial for children's learning curves, because we learn so much quicker and so much stronger when we're out of our comfort zone. And if there's so many opportunities we might have missed when we were children, when we weren't out of our comfort zone, we were in our comfort zone. We missed out on opportunities. And now, as adults, when we've grown up, we think that's it. Our personalities are set, our traits are set, how we are is set. But not necessarily. You can keep on working at them. So often now we stay in our comfort zone and have our ways of doing things. But the more you put yourself into uneasy situations and things that are out of your comfort zone, you might pick up traits that you didn't manage to find when you were a kid, when it was important to pick them up. I mean, so many of us cruise at that certain level and don't keep learning. Well, not so much learning in an intellectual sense, but learning in boosting traits and personality. And obviously this is going to reduce the effects of the autopilot. And breaking out of the autopilot will always bring you into the present moment. So they're just a few things that you can try to help encourage the present moment to come back into your life. And if you do try any one of them, I'd love to hear about your experiences from it, whether it's done anything that I said it should. And even if it hasn't, let me know and we can discuss your experiences. But thank you for watching. If you've got any value from this video, give it a like and subscribe if you want videos on loads of stuff. Mindfulness, meditation, all the good stuff in life. But you take care and I'll see you soon. Be mindful. Bye bye.